Monday.
Yes.
Going
Monday.
to Connecticut. Real quick, what is the capital of Connecticut? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hartford, bro.
Hartford?
Everybody knows that.
I didn't fucking know that. So
No, I had to Google that. I didn't know it either. But you're the one who looks dumb, not me.
Wow. You dick bag. You know what?
Yeah, man. I'm excited to learn about Connecticut this week.
Heck yeah, man. I guess let's just start the fucking show, man.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
Hit the button.
Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Well, if you haven't noticed, Dan, did it come good on your end? Did you hear it, see it?
Oh yeah. Everything was really good.
Okay, perfect. All right. So as you can see, we got a nice little backdrop now to the show. Kind of got bored of the little all black bullshit. Kind of looked boring. And then I figured people didn't want to see us just our heads bobbing while we hit the button to start the show. So I made a quick little...
More like you.
Dan, you don't need to hurt my feelings.
I'm chill like a cucumber. You're the one who's...
I'm dancing and having a fun time, okay?
Yeah, it's okay. I like it, man.
You just look like a fucking loser just sitting there going, oh.
Yeah.
At least I'm, whatever.
Hey, at least I know the capital of Connecticut, okay?
Yep. You fucking dick.
It's all right.
I would not think of Hartford as the capital.
I think the biggest message for you to learn is that you need to be educated on the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Which is why we got a couple of good guests. I think that they can probably get you learned in tonight's episode.
We'll let these kind of introduce them, and they'll have them introduce themselves. But yeah, I remember I think it was elementary school or whatever, you had to learn each state, and you had to learn the capital of each state.
Yep.
That went out the fucking window, though. Obviously, the next year.
Yep. And also the nickname for each state, like the Great Lakes State, the Sunshine State, shit like that. I remember all those.
I never had to learn how to know the nickname for each state.
Well, my teacher, that was one of the things that they threw in there.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I just did not retain much on Connecticut. And when I knew we were doing Connecticut tonight, I was just thinking, I was like, what is even the capital of Connecticut? I couldn't think of it. So I looked it up and figured I would see if you knew it off the top of your head. So it definitely makes me feel better that you didn't know it either.
Fuck off, dude.
Yeah, you just look worse, that's all.
I look like an idiot now.
That's all right.
Hurt my feelings and cut me down. Whatever. All right, let's start the show. All right, we got two guests now from Connecticut, Trevor and Steve, and let's bring them into the show. Dan, bring them in. Let me hit the applause button.
All righty.
Oh, man. Well,
Steve,
Trevor's on the left. Steve is on the right. Steve was having some technical difficulties. It's okay. Trevor said you were kind of slow, so the technology is kind of stupid.
Hey, can you guys hear me all right? Everybody that follows us has seen Trevor's post. They know who the slow one is. We'll let that speak for itself. You guys can hear me all right, though? That was like down to the wire. I didn't think I was making it tonight.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool.
For sure.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for having us, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And it's cool that you guys are podcasters as well, because I plan on picking your brain on a bunch of podcast stuff too.
Good luck with that.
Go, ask Trev. He's the smart one, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't be more amateur than we are. So definitely. I'm sure we can learn something from you guys.
We go with the method of just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly.
That's what we like too.
Yeah.
When it comes to podcasting, I mean, like the technical difficulty side of it, that's a normality, right? Like things always happen, and like you'll forget to record an episode halfway through it, or the recorder stops recording, or I mean, that's part of it. I mean, we're close to almost 300 episodes, and these things still happen. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago. What we have Jacob Emery on, and I forgot to hit the record button from the start. I mean, it's just the way it goes, man.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's technology.
Well, put it this way. I'm on the phone with Brett a couple hours ago, and I'm like, I'm going to get on early. I've never used Restream before. Like, I want to get in, make sure everything's good. I don't want to have any technical difficulties. Well, I don't know if it was a self-fulfilling prophecy or what, but we had technical difficulties. It's like I knew if it can happen, it will happen. And,
that's right.
And that's what happened. But
it might be Restream because I've had issues with it too. So has Brett. So
yeah.
Fucking Instagram, man. Dude, whatever. I don't get me started with that bullshit. Okay, I'm trying to move past it and whatever. It is what it is. Instagram apparently it doesn't like us, and it doesn't want us to do our shows through Instagram. So it basically gave us a middle finger. So I give Instagram 2 middle fingers because it's a fucking asshole.
Oop, you're about to get canceled, bro.
Fuck that cancel culture bullshit. Cancel me. See what fucking happens. Anyway.
Shadow banding is a big thing now. That's one of the things I think our industry is kind of under, is that whole shadow banding aspect. Like you would see where we would get posts or whatever and put them up and get 150 or 200 likes, and now we're putting up top notch reels and stuff and just getting 20, 30 likes on it, and you're like, well, you know what it is. You're getting blocked in the background.
You gotta love that stuff, man. Well, for everyone that doesn't know, can you guys please introduce yourself, where you're from, and what's going on?
Madman, kick it off, buddy.
Oh, I thought you were the host.
I mean, I can if you want. But.
Steve Martic, born and raised in Connecticut. I'm Southeast Connecticut, pretty close to the Rhode Island border, pretty close to the coast. Just grew up in the outdoors, mostly deer hunting. I turkey hunt now, a little bit of bear hunting. Just love the outdoors, live for hunting and all that stuff. And became friends with Trev here handful of years ago, and he had a podcast endeavor, and things just lined up, and he asked me to join the team, and been podcasting with him for a little over a year, maybe 100 episodes or so. So still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I just kind of throw it together with Scotch tape and act
look legit.
Act like
yeah.
Hey, just to be $1 million, you got to look like $1 million. That's what we say.
Yeah,
just the way it goes, man.
Even million every once in a while, like even $1 million is held together with Scotch tape, though.
Yeah, that's okay. Or duct tape, even better.
So I'm Trev, known as East Coast Trev. I'm born and raised here in Connecticut also. I'm Northeast Connecticut, a little bit different than where Steve's from. So I'm on the Massachusetts border. I'm about an hour and a half from the coast, about an hour from the mountains of the Berkshires in Massachusetts. So a little bit different. Been, hunting and fishing my entire life. I'm actually a licensed captain by trade. So I'm actually a fisherman by trade.
Commercial fisherman?
You can call it commercial fisherman. I did a little bit of commercial fishing. And now I charter fish. So I do a little bit of light tackle fishing and that kind of stuff. So just kind of been plugged into the outdoors since I was a kid, growing up in, deer camp and whatnot, raised bird hunting dogs, growing up, and then kind of really took to the turkey hunting world for a really long time. Not, I'm a deer hunter because that's what we do is deer hunt, but still a little fresh in it. Killed some nice deer in my life, but I'm no deer hunter by any means. I just get in the woods and get after it. So, more or less on the shed hunting side, I guess, is more my forte, is finding them. Well, finding their antlers after I can't kill them. So
yeah, that's satisfying too, though.
They say it's a participation trophy, and I say it's 2024, and we all need participation trophies. So I guess I'll take a win for that one.
Hell yeah. I agree with that for sure.
But Connecticut is definitely a tough hunting. I'm surprised you guys even wanted to do a podcast about it or actually talk about it, because it's not really a sought after place, to be honest.
It can't be any worse than Michigan.
I was talking to Brett earlier on the phone, and Brett goes, "Well, just we'll go over some information in case anybody wanted to travel to Connecticut to deer hunt." And I'm like, well, why would anybody want to do that?
So I will touch light on that. As far as like, if anyone was to come here archery hunting, you could almost kiss it goodbye, because the state makes it so hard for you to be able to come here and archery hunt. You have to either take the Connecticut archery course, or you have to have a prior archery license within the past 5 years. So it's super hard to get an archery license in the state. I've had guys come where I would guide them turkey hunting, and they just can't get an archery license. They would rather them come and gun hunt than they would archery hunt, which is kind of like one of them loophole problems that we do have in the state. So it definitely makes it very, very tough.
Why the fuck is that shit?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The old Constitution state.
Yeah. So what they had done was, in the past couple of years, they had rewritten a couple of the laws on the archery hunting here in the state, and that being one of them is that you have to actually take the archery hunter safety course here in our state to then get your archery license and your archery tags. So
when did that go into effect?
Like 5 years ago, probably now.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, maybe.
Because G ran into it back in the early East Coast bow hunting days, so that was...
Yeah.
So I don't know if I heard it, but I missed it. But what caused that to happen? Like, what happened to where it's like, you know what, we got to put this law into place?
So it was just a rewrite. When they had, because we had gone from the paper trail of licenses, so everything was all like, we can go to local Walmart, you just get a written up license. When they went to electronic, and they started getting people involved that would like approve like your hunter safety course for gun hunting or whatever, then they had put into place this whole bow hunting thing. One of the loopholes that we did have was we were having people take like the Idaho bow hunter safety course, but then they kind of caught on to it after the first year, and they said that only the Connecticut bow hunter safety course is accepted. And it's super hard because like, you can take the regular bow hunter safety course here virtually, like online, but you have to do a 6-hour in person like hunt test kind of to kind of finish off the whole archery thing. So it's super tough to get into.
And that's the other thing too, is like, we have residents, you see it all the time on like our local like Connecticut hunting pages, where guys want to get their Connecticut hunting license, and the classes are few and far between. They fill up quickly. So there's residents that like can't even get into a Connecticut archery hunter safety course.
Yeah, that was one of my next questions. So all those hoops that you have to jump through is the same for a resident archery hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys get grandfathered in?
Dude, I've had an archery course since I was 12 years old. So like,
right.
We had already, so unlike other states, I don't know how it is in Michigan or wherever else. We have to get a firearm safety course, and then we have to get a bow hunter safety course. So like, when you turn 11 here, you go and you take that course right away. So you can take it at 11, and then once you turn 12, then you actually get your hunter safety course. Your hunter's license.
Yep.
So we all just take them at 11, just so that we can then at 12 years old have our hunting license. Just cause. So we would take both courses. But it's so different now than what it used to be, man. It's not even close to the same thing. It just
sounds
tough.
like it's almost impossible to get a freaking license there, whether you're out of state or in state.
So, a gun license is so easy. Like if y'all came out here and you had a gun license, you want to turkey hunt with me, as long as you have a certificate, an actual physical certificate from your state, a
Well,
copy or proof of it, you just give it to you would email it in, and then they'll approve it, and then they'll open it up electronically in the back end so that you can then have your hunting license, and then you can purchase it online.
do
It's super easy.
do they need the certificate or just a valid
No, it is a certificate.
license?
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like we go to Ohio to deer hunt or archery hunt Ohio. We're Connecticut residents. We have a valid Connecticut archery permit. We show up in Ohio, show them a valid Connecticut license, and you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to come here, you have to take our safety course.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know. It must just be a money. No, it's not even a money grab because
No.
the course is free.
No, it's
just a tradition and a control thing.
there's so many things, man. Like, there's so many things that this state does, and I used to be super into it, where I would go to the Capitol and talk and be part of the CACC, which is the Connecticut Coalition on game and fish stuff with trapping and hunting and fishing and whatever else. And they've just pushed and prodded at all these laws and regulations that are just crazy. I mean, like in our southern zones 11 and 12, they're a bait zone. And it's unlimited tags. So for every single doe tag, you get a replacement tag. Every third doe tag that you get an earn a buck tag. So like it's almost unlimited. So their outlook on it is no deer, no hunting, no guns. So that's how they try to do it. And they started to do it on the turkey side too,
Mm-hmm.
where they give us five turkey tags. So they're thinking if you kill all the turkeys, then there won't be any hunters, then there won't be any guns, right? So like,
Yeah.
and it's diminished our population of game here like hugely on a regular basis, on a regular season. I think throughout all, if you buy all of them, purchase all of your tags, we're up to almost 16 deer in a season that I can kill from, archery to gun to muzzleloader, public land, private land.
Yeah.
I can kill almost 16 deer.
Without
Zones 11 and 12.
without zones 11, 12, and without like replacement tags, you can shoot 6 bucks in one season in Connecticut.
Damn.
Wait,
So
you can shoot 6 bucks?
yeah, so how
Yeah.
that works is like you'd have to buy all your tags, but like archery season, you can shoot 4 deer, 2 of which can be bucks. So then once rifle season kicks in, you can shoot another buck with your rifle. Then you can go to private land with your shotgun. Public land with your shotgun and shoot another buck. Then muzzleloader kicks in and you can shoot another buck on private land with your muzzleloader and another buck on private land with your muzzleloader. So, you've got some states out there that's like a 1 buck state. Like if you shoot a buck opening day with your bow, you're tagged out with bucks for the season. That's 1 buck a year. We can shoot 6 bucks a year.
Well, I did get a text that someone asked if you guys can help share with us any stats on non-resident archers and success that they could share. Thanks.
Honestly, Steve, I don't know.
Like success stats, like
Yeah,
what the
success
percentage.
rates.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I just saw the numbers came out the other day, but I didn't even pay attention to the non-resident part of it because it wasn't really on my radar. I actually took some notes, believe it or not, which I don't even do for our own podcast. So you guys are,
It was
I
good.
That's special.
I do have some info though. For non-resident traveling to Connecticut, $91 for your non-resident firearms tag or license. Your combination, which is non-resident to be able to gun hunt and fish, is $120. The archery license is $94. Now this is confusing where you don't need to buy your hunting license and your archery tags. If you did have that course and you could legally archery hunt, you only have to pay the $94 that lets you archery hunt and get your 4 tags. And then all tags across the board, aside from archery, is $65. So if you were gonna say you're gonna come here for the whole season, if you wanted your rifle tags, it'd be $65. If you wanted your public land shotgun tag, it's another $65. If you want your muzzleloader tag, it's another $65. But like I said, every time you spend that $65 for another hunting implement, you get another buck tag. If that makes sense. I know it's
so if you come to Connecticut, you can really have the opportunity to really stuff a couple of freezers full.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing with Connecticut. It's definitely not, it will never be a destination for like big bucks. Like, do we have big bucks? Yeah, they're here. Few and far between. You really gotta, you gotta find them. But as far as like deer population, if you're not picky, I mean, they're pretty much in every nook and cranny. So if you just wanted to fill the freezer, you don't have a problem.
So it's a fun state then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question was, what's it like hunting actual deer there? Do you see, like, what would be, like, for here in Michigan, you can see a 200-inch deer, so that's, I would say it's kind of common. But for, what would be like, man, that's not common. You're like, that's going to be your ceiling that you're going to get out of Connecticut.
So we do have big deer that get shot here, right? So like we have I think the standing muzzleloader state record right now is like 217 inches, right? So like,
okay,
there is big deer here, and guys shoot them, and like we say on average, like somebody that's shooting on average like a 130 every single year, like they're doing something really good. Like that's like
really
exponential. That 120 to 130 class, like. And they're shooting those deer every year. Like that's exponential, right?
I would say like an average, like 4-year-old shooter, like you're not passing them, is probably like a 115, maybe pushing 120. Like you shoot that with the age, right? Not like a 3-year-old, but a 4-year-old, we have a lot of like solid 8-pointers, 115 pushing 120. You don't pass that deer. Like that's a solid average shooter right there.
That sounds pretty comparable to Michigan, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, we have big deer here, and I'm not the most educated on scoring deer and all that, but yeah, I mean, a 115, 120, I ain't passing that shit up.
Right.
No. So to go back on that question too, they didn't have any of the non-resident stats. I just looked it up, but I will say this, that hunters legally killed 10,433 deer in the state of Connecticut last year, which is a 16.4 increase over 2021. So
good.
there was that many deer that were shot here, which is way more than I thought was actually shot here.
Wow.
Yeah, ours are down. I know that the harvest was down like 10, 11%.
Mm-hmm.
And it was down the year before, but the population of the does is increasing.
It's basically like a graph, kind of like if you could see the number of licenses are going down, and then obviously what's going to cause that is the deer population is going to go up. So it's kind of like a simultaneous thing. And I think the problem is there's so many problems. I think that could be a big issue, but I think my main big issue is a lot of the kids out nowadays, they don't want to go hunting. They just want to sit on their ass and play video games all day, and they don't want to get outside and get in the dirt or go hunting or have fishing. I mean, I make jokes of people that crossbow hunt and they have the physical ability to crossbow hunt. I make fun of them, but it's at the end of the day, I just want people to go out hunting, and people aren't doing that, especially in the state of Michigan. So the numbers have been going way down on that front.
What's the saying? We need more tackle boxes and less X boxes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
See, and it's crazy though, because we're huge with a lot of the trade show stuff, right? And we go to a ton of different trade shows all over, and you're seeing a huge increase in people showing up to these shows. Like, as far as I just got back from NWTF in Tennessee, and there was a huge increase in hunters that were at the Sportsman Show this year. Like, it's just nuts that there's that many people that have gone to these shows, and we're seeing this decrease in license numbers. Steve, would you say that this year in Harrisburg there was more people than there was in previous years in the last weekend?
So I didn't really notice, but talking to some of the guys, they said, it was that second weekend was wild, because I wasn't there for the first weekend. But yeah, it's come, especially after COVID, because there's a couple years there where the trade shows and the outdoorsman shows were kind of not happening because of COVID. I think after COVID, they're kind of back on the upswing because guys want to get out and see product in real life.
I think a big problem in Michigan, at least, why you're seeing licenses go down is access. It's tough to be able to find property to hunt, and I feel like a lot of people just they don't even start hunting because they assume that there's not going to be room for them, and there's just so much competition. And I mean, that had a lot to do with why I got into hunting so late, because I knew I didn't have any land anywhere to hunt.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And Michigan does have public land, but I feel like we don't have a lot compared to some other states that, really give the hunters a lot of a variety. In Michigan, it's feast or famine.
How's your public set up? So with Connecticut, I would say we have a decent amount of public for how small the state is. But if you look at it on Onyx or our Hunt Stand, and you see like the road and trail systems, there's freaking hiking trails everywhere, cutting through everything. And you've got to learn to not let that bother you. You're not going to be that far from a hiking trail. But the problem is we have a lot of, I wouldn't say anti-hunters, but we have a lot of, granola hikers and bird watchers and horseback riders and dirt bike and four-wheeler riders. So you're sharing that public with a lot of non-hunting population, and you're kind of the minority.
Yeah.
So, that public land's there for hunting, but it gets used for a lot more than just hunting. And the problem, I say problem, but the thing is, our hunting, the money we pay towards hunting license and tags and all that stuff, that's putting money into the state to maintain all this public land. You don't pay to bird watch. You don't pay to ride your horse. You don't pay to ride your you're riding your dirt bike illegally. But all these people that are enjoying this public land, they're doing it for free. We pay to hunt it. So it kind of sucks for us because we're sharing it with people, but we're also paying for that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But definitely the least respected, probably, out of all the people who use it.
Right. Exactly.
Which is a shame, but
I tell this story a lot. I was actually duck hunting in the state of Rhode Island, and we were out duck hunting, and it was kind of funny. Is we're out in the duck blind, and the sea ducks, and we're off land, and we're shooting ducks and this, that, and the other thing, and we're actually scrolling through social media, and I see this post from the Newport Times, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, hey, that's us. And it's this just like liberal hippie dude, and he's standing there, and he's like, all these crazy rednecks, they're shooting ducks, and all I can hear is pop, pop, pop while I'm on a wildlife reserve or something.
Wild bird sanctuary.
And it wasn't a wildlife bird sanctuary. It was actually a conservation land that our hunting dollars pay for him to be on that land, where it's actually a refuge. And he was there talking about us, and he got absolutely lit up, and he was just superly uneducated, and he was standing on the ground that our hunting dollars pay for the wildlife. And one of the reasons they were there was for the snowy owl, and they had chased this snowy owl so far down onto the beach, and this thing literally didn't want to fly. And it was from the bird watchers just taking pictures of this thing, and they're talking crap on us when we're the ones that paid for the land for them to be on. And he got ripped up one side, down the other, but it was just kind of funny. Like, we were there,
That's funny,
it was just,
though.
yeah. People don't understand, and I think there's a lack of education. Like, we pay
For
for
sure.
a lot of these lands, especially here. We have a hard time with it because, it's a very blue state, right? And we hide a lot of what we do. But a lot of these lands that we're on are, conservation lands, and we're hunting on this public land, and these guys are hiking. And we've had multiple run-ins with different people because we live in suburbia. I don't care where you are. Like where I am is, the mountains, but still there's a ton of people. And every place you go to set a deer stand, there's a hiking trail. So it's just a pain. It really is, and you have a ton of run-ins with a lot of people.
Do you guys
Totally.
find that you hunt primarily on public, or do you guys hunt private as well?
So private's very hard to find, right? Private is not an easy thing to get here because of the lack of education from a lot of people. They just don't like hunters. Steven's upside down.
Is he upside down, or is that just me?
No, I'm black. I'm like, did I do something? Was it me?
Steve, what did you do? Yeah, it was you. You're upside down.
Spider-Man.
I
Look like a
can't
bat.
see anybody.
It's because you're upside down.
I didn't do anything though. I was just standing here listening to Trevor ramble on about whatever.
You're upside
No,
down. Turn,
that's
You
okay.
guys
turn
are
your-
like, you guys are completely blacked out. I didn't even move anything.
I think
There you
Brett
go.
did it.
It's okay.
I still
Yeah, you did play.
I still can't see you guys, but whatever. You guys are ugly anyways.
Brett turned you upside down. So, but no, we the majority of our hunting is done on private land because on public land because private land is super hard to get. It's super hard to try and find private land.
You guys are bad.
Because a ton of guys are, already hunting on that land.
Right.
And it's just hard to find, and people don't want you hunting, or there's a ton of houses, or whatever the case may be. It's super tough. So we find ourselves always on public land.
Yeah, it's another one of those sports or hobbies where money rules all. I'm relatively new to it, like I said, but that's one thing that I noticed. Like, the more money you have, the probably easier it is to find your way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go ahead, Steve.
So just to touch on what Trev said, I'm very fortunate. Like growing up as a young kid, we had like a pretty solid piece of private to hunt. It was right across the street from the house I grew up on. It was a Christmas tree farm. Had a lot of deer. It didn't have giants, but it had every year there was one of those solid, mature 110, 115 inch 8-pointers running around. And me and my father had it pretty much to ourselves. So as a young kid, it gave us a safe place for him to take me and not have to worry about some asshole harassing us, somebody being unsafe, gunshots going everywhere. So he was able to kind of like teach me the way. It was us, very intimate and stuff like that. It wasn't until fairly recently where I started dabbling into more and more public because I wanted, more options to chase different deer or find bigger deer, and didn't want to be like stuck to like one or two pieces of private. But like Trev said, so the thing with Connecticut is obviously Connecticut's a small state, and our pieces of private tend to be a lot smaller too, right? So, I mean, if you get a 40-acre chunk, like that's a good piece of private.
Mm-hmm.
So
Same.
like you'll have like a block of timber, right? And when I call it a block, that's like no roads, right? So you have a road to the north, running east west. Inside that block, it could be 1,000 acres of timber, but it's 20 different landowners in that block of timber. Well, you might score this 40, but the 40 next door might have other people hunting that, and once they're in, they're not going to let other people in. The next 40 doesn't allow hunting at all. Like, forget about it. It's just not happening. So like it's either there's already hunters there or nobody's hunting it. And to break into a new piece, it's pretty tough.
So I did a couple of years ago, and how I got a ton of private land to start with, and I haven't really, landowners had passed away or whatever the case may be, but I had wrote 1,000 letters, and out of those 1,000 letters, I got 10 people to write back to me. 4 of them were no's, a couple of yeses, and a couple of maybes that you kind of just stuck on. And I got a couple good properties, shot one good buck off of one of the properties. So it did work, but you just have to put in that effort, and it almost wasn't worth it, Like, I could have put in all that time and effort to be scouting out on public land, and finding good ground and then chasing a good deer on that ground, instead of putting in all that work to try and get that private land and then having a new place and kind of, one of the things that kind of sucks too when you do something like that and have a ton of private land or small parcels like that, you're constantly unsure where you're going to go and hunt. You're constantly trying to scout and figure those places out, and then you may lose them. Like we have a lot of problems with, like the neighbor gets mad because you're there hunting, and then he goes and asks permission, but he's a lot tighter with the landowner, right? Because you're a non, you're not supposed, you're not like in their circle, right? Because they want to be nice to their neighbor, so then they'll get you kicked off there. Or I've had problems with, I had a property, huge property, probably one of the best properties I ever had, and there was only one other guy hunting there. Well, he was the guy that works on the farmer's tractors. And he literally went to him and said, I want exclusive rights to hunt this property because, I work on all your tractors. And he got exclusive rights. And it just, you get boosted out. So it was, for me, it was just like, I'm just going to go hunt public land, mind my own, and put in all my effort into that. And I don't have to ever worry about losing a piece of property. And you just keep, you stay away from everybody and just kind of do your own thing.
Just be a
And
nomad.
Plus
It's
that's the only
easier.
way. It's the only way to get street cred now, too, right? Nobody cares about a big buck you shoot on private. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
unless it's on public.
That's
It
right.
is
And you got to
trending.
kayak in and all that shit. If
Yeah.
you go kayak in and hunt it out of a saddle on public, you ain't
Yep.
shit.
I'm
Order 'em
even
out.
I even upped it because I ride an e-bike in the public land now, so I get extra
Nice.
street cred, just like OG style,
Wow.
Dude, those are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
My in-laws have those, and I went to their campsite just to hang out for an evening, and they were like, "Here, take this bike for a spin." And I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "This thing is pretty fun." And then when I saw them on hunting shows, I was like, "Why the fuck would guys spend all that money to use that hunting?" But then I realized, I was like, "Man, they do have pretty beefy tires, and they're quiet, and they're fast."
Fast.
Fast. Super
Fa-
fast.
And the big thing, you guys mobile hunters or?
No. Well,
No,
Sorry,
no.
Alright.
I don't hunt. I haven't hunted public before, so I just
St-
hunt
Preset
private.
ladder stands and
Hang
pre-hung
hang on.
lock-ons. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the big thing is like once you go mobile, like obviously everyone knows the name of the game is staying light and keeping your gear, as minimal as possible and lightweight. But once you start getting deep on public, packing all your shit in, like you don't realize how much of a workout it is, how much
Mhm.
time it takes to get, like guys that say, "Oh, I was a mile deep on public." Like, first of all, you probably weren't, because I've been a legit mile before, and like it's far, right? And it's a 40-minute walk straight from the truck, nonstop, like brisk walk. It's a 40-minute walk to get a mile deep. And when you're on an e-bike, it's like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and you don't break a sweat.
And you use it to an advantage where, when you start to use a bike like that, like not even, I very rarely actually hunt off of it. A lot of my stuff is the scouting aspect of it because I can cover a lot more ground in a day. So like if I'm starting at truck and there's only 2 points of entry and I've already scouted all my way in there, I can then lead off on the e-bike on that backside of where I left off the day before scouting, right? So that's always a benefit because I can get a lot further, a lot quicker, and I'm not just continually wasting my time walking. The other thing I use it for is checking trail cameras. What would take me all day checking trail cameras on one piece of public, I can now do it in like 40 minutes.
Yep.
Like I can run down there, check one camera, get to the next one, check the other one, or I'm changing batteries or whatever, or I
Yeah,
want to get to an area.
Chev's a big soaker.
Yeah.
Oh, you sweat a lot?
No. I'll set a camera and I'll just leave it there for 3 years and then I'll go back and I'll pick it up. Like it's just
oh my god.
Yeah.
You get a lot of intel that way until the batteries die, but
Yeah, or until
no.
somebody steals it.
Nope, nobody steals my cameras. Nobody will ever steal one of my cameras. I use this system called the Spy High mounting system, and it puts the camera about 8 to 10 feet off the ground. And a lot of the times, people will just walk underneath it. They don't even know that it's there because they don't want to look up. and they can't see it. So it's 2 painter poles distance up, and they're up in a tree, and you'll never even see them. I've never gotten a camera stolen since I've gone to Spy High, for that reason, because they're deep in public, and if somebody finds them, they're gonna want them, they're gonna get them, right? So it's just easier to keep them up and out of the way. And the other thing is, you don't have to. I mean, bucks don't look up. Like, even if it has an infrared flash, they don't get scared of it. It's definitely a game changer when it comes to cameras, for sure, no doubt about
Well,
it.
I just got a text message about trail cameras. They want us to ask. So, what are trail cameras like here in Michigan, and what's it like being in Connecticut? Because it sounds like out west are being more banned out there.
Hmm.
So I'll just touch on the Michigan part of it. Right now, it's still legal to use trail cameras.
Cell cameras.
Yeah, cell cameras. Yeah, you can use them, and I use them all. I don't. I use them when I use my trail cameras for the cell ones. I put them in the deep parts of my property that I can hunt on, for where I don't want my scent to be out there as much, where I think they're bedding and I don't want to disturb it as much. I'll put my regular SD cameras on made more property of, like, just main travel corridors, stuff like that, where I can walk in and out and I want my scent there. So that's kind of how I work with my trail cameras and cell cameras. So I can see there's what's going on out there in Connecticut with cell cameras.
There's no law change here. I mean, we could use them. We can use cell cameras. We can use pretty much anything.
No talks about getting rid of them anytime soon.
No, because you got to remember, go back to what we started talking about at the beginning of the episode. The politicians want the deer dead. So they're not going to take away anything that's making it easier and more efficient for us to just kill shit. You know what I mean? So that's why we're wide open, crossbow across the board. Half the state can bait. They're going to give us trail. If it means we can kill more easily, they want us to kill them all.
Yeah.
I never really thought of that they give you such a big allowance because they want you to lose a desire to have a firearm. That's fucked up.
It's
We're supposed to bleep it, Dan. When we cuss, we totally fucking it all up.
I don't have all those controls.
I can't time it out fucking correctly, okay? And I still.
What's on you?
Sorry about that. We're trying to be a little more. Oh, fuck that bullshit.
Yeah. So like, they don't. There's not a lot of movement as far as that. Like, when it comes to the politicians trying to kind of like attack the aspect of hunting, they kind of like freely just give us whatever we want, kind of thing. Or a lot of the times when they try to give us something, they'll just slip it underneath the rug. As far as like, like the whole southern zones with the unlimited tags, they just put that in another bill, and they just made it so that nobody else knew about it. So what happened was, and how it all occurred was, somebody who was a politician's kid got Lyme disease, and they then slipped it underneath in another law so that they could have the unlimited tags, because if they had gone to committee with it, then it obviously would have gotten thrown out. So they just slid it underneath, they gave it to us, and then they kill all the deer, so on and so forth. But they don't really mess with a lot of things. We don't really have a problem with them messing with things. But like, we're trying to get a bear season right now, and we can't get a bear season for some reason.
What about baiting? Are you guys a bait state?
Just southern zones.
Just southern zones.
Okay.
So it's only the shoreline. All around, only on the shore. We don't have it up north, like where me and Steve are.
Okay.
To kind of contradict what we just said, they did take away the use of natural scents a couple years ago, so we can only use synthetics now, under the premise of like chronic waste disease and EHD and all that stuff. So I guess that kind of contradicts our whole theory about they just want all the deer dead, because if that was the case, they would just let them all die from EHD or whatever. But they did take that away from us.
So one of the questions that we usually ask our out-of-state guests is, if you could remove a law or implement one, what would it be? And I think you guys might have already answered it, is that you guys want a bear season, right?
I could care less on the bear season, man. I think one of the things that I think, that I would advocate for or would want in our state would be, I would want a mentor program of some sort, or some type of, like, not a mentor program, but I guess like a mentor program where they would get apprenticeship program. That's what it is. Apprenticeship hunter program where guys could hunt for 1 year prior to having to get their hunting license, whether it was a youth or anybody, just they could hunt for 1 year in the state, because one of the
you're saying with somebody that holds a valid license, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So some states have this as an apprenticeship, and the reason I would want to see this is just because our state needs more hunters, and I think every state needs more hunters. But one of the things that we try to do as the outdoor drive and stuff is we try to get youth involved, and we do youth turkey hunts all the time, and it's super hard for us to find youth that aren't already in the hunting world, where their families, their dad might be a deer hunter or whatever the case may be, and then we bring them turkey hunting, but their dad could have brought them and do that. I want to find kids that have never hunted before or want to hunt, and then have the ability to go hunting with me, and I could show them the ropes. And then if they choose so, they can go and get their hunting license, because the hunting license aspect is kind of tough, and there's it's overwhelming, right? Because like you don't know what to do, you don't have anyone to help you. So I think if I could if I could do one thing in the state, would have to have an apprenticeship program. Honestly, that would be my number one.
It would definitely have an impact on getting those license numbers up.
Right.
It'd be a whole other generation, people that didn't have a hunting mentor, that'd be a good idea for sure.
Steve, what would be yours?
Mine are a little more selfish than Trev's, but there's two laws that absolutely drive me nuts. So we can't hunt Sundays in Connecticut. Now,
like Pennsylvania.
We just how long has it been? It's actually been longer than I think.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah. So we can archery hunt Sundays on private land only. So we can't public land at all. If you're deer hunting on private land on a Sunday, you can't shoot a coyote, because you can only shoot deer on Sundays with your bow. Fall turkey season, if you're in your deer stand bow hunting on a Sunday and a strutter walks by, you cannot shoot that turkey with your bow, because it's Sunday. You can only shoot deer. So I would like to see just Sunday hunting across the board, public land included. And then the other law that absolutely drives me nuts is our archery season opens September 15th and it closes December 31st. But we cannot hunt public land with a bow during the shotgun season. So, but you can hunt with a muzzleloader during shotgun season because it's considered a lesser weapon. Mm-hmm. But apparently a bow is not a lesser weapon. So if you were, say you're a really hardcore bow hunter and you're targeting a buck with your bow and you only want to shoot this deer with your bow, when shotgun season opens up, you can't bow hunt that deer until shotgun season's over. So that's one thing I wish would change.
How long is your shotgun season?
It's give or take, but say it's like November 15th to like December 10th. And that might shift a couple days. It's the Wednesday, not the day before Thanksgiving, but the Wednesday before that, until like the second Tuesday in December. So about this November 15th to December 10th.
Okay.
But so no bow hunting. Now you can bow hunt private land during that time, but you can't archery hunt public land during shotgun season. It's the dumbest thing. They need to just stop with all that. But
yeah, that would frustrate me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for Brett, that would be an ultimatum for you. You would have to
cripple
choose,
me, basically.
Yeah, you would have to choose to not hunt or to hunt with something that you don't want to hunt with.
Right.
No, I would choose not to hunt at all.
I would choose to hunt with the old boomstick because I could still hunt.
See, I am a man, and I shoot my shit with a bow.
That's all right, man.
I kid though.
I
No,
I prefer the bow, but the old boomstick will get the job done too.
What kind of man are you? What kind of bow do you shoot?
I got a Matthews.
He's not
brand.
serious.
Yeah, you're slinging it. Catch as if you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just like those Hoyt guys.
That's what I have. I've got a Hoyt.
Oh my god, I
Yeah,
gotta
see,
go.
he's a
That's enough.
So you're the serious guy over there.
I'm serious.
Get serious. Get a Hoyt.
He's dead serious, man.
You must.
No, I think I think I might jump on to your guys' train. I really like that lift.
So I'm a Matthews guy. I've shot him forever, though. I have no reason to switch. You can call me a fanboy. I've just been shooting him forever and have no reason to change. I know several people that shot the lift, and you're going to have to help me out. The new Hoyt, whatever it is, the Alpha, whatever. A couple guys shifted over to the Hoyt. They gave up the Matthews for it.
Oh, wow.
So one thing that I've found about Matthews, because I've shot them forever, is they're not as smooth as they used to be. They're still riding that reputation as, you know, oh, I can't believe how smooth it is. I can't believe how smooth it is. But those cams are getting so aggressive. You know what I mean? They got that big oblong shape in it. And when you come over that hump, it's like come over the top. And then as soon as you settle in on the backside, it's so shallow. You're like right on the edge of a and she's aggressive, but the fastest.
I think it could come towards, because one of my archery mentors growing up, basically, if you look at the cam, the more circular it is, the more easy it is drawing back. And then once you hit that back wall, it's not going to feel like a big
right
drop.
Exactly.
But then once you have more like those football shaped cams, then you're going to get there. You're going to feel that huge dip down.
Yep.
And then you're going to come back up, going back into it and settling in there.
Right.
And I think Matthews, they tried their best with compensating. Well, I said compensating, but trying to get the best of both worlds of having. But I can tell just a little bit that their cams are like in between both the full circle and like the football shaped. And I guess it all depends on how fast you want your poundage on your bow too. Is because I've seen this new bow can get up to 80, and I haven't shot this bow. I already can tell I'm gonna love it though already from what I'm seeing and hearing.
You hope.
And
what'd you get, the lift?
I'm going to be getting the lift, yes.
Yeah.
And well, actually, no, I did shoot it once. Actually, I did shoot it once back in December.
I don't really follow too closely because I'm not a guy that gets a new bow every year. But it seems like they kind of got a little over the top there. VXR was a little wild. That's what I'm shooting now. Like, it's pretty aggressive cam cycle, and I think they kind of realize, and I think they're kind of starting to come back to get back to the smoother, you know, like kind of like overcompensated, and that's why they're constantly tweaking new stuff every year, you know.
Yeah, and I've always said, especially with this new bow getting up to 80 pounds, I was like, man, that's a lot of fucking weight to be drawing.
Did you get the 80 pounder?
No, I'm not going to be getting an 80 pounder. I mean, I'm going to try it when I first buying the bow, but when I eventually get down to it, like I always say, it's like you got to think of all the scenarios when you're actually out there hunting. Yeah, you could do it shooting your fucking bow out in your backyard. But
Right.
if you got a doe coming, you have to stop midway so you don't scare them. And it's a lot of those other variables that I don't think a lot of people think of. And so I generally like to stay at like 75 in that ballpark.
God damn.
Yeah.
You lift weights?
No.
I don't even have my 70 maxed out. I did for a little while, and I realized like I shoot at like 67 pounds.
Yeah, 60.
I can shoot 70, but I learned like 67's like my sweet spot.
Yeah.
I'm shooting 50 right now. I
Boy.
got a bad shoulder, and I bought my first bow used from my buddy's dad, who just had a shoulder surgery. And when I took it to my bow guy to get it all tailored to me, he was like, shit, man. He's like, at 50 pounds, he's like, you're at 260 feet per second. He was like, if this feels good, he said, I would just keep it at 50. And that's what I've been doing. But
dude.
I think I've been thinking about maybe going up a little bit, maybe 5-10 pounds. I think 60 would probably be the most.
Yeah.
I think that's
60 is
more
good.
than enough.
Mark Drury kills the fuck out of him at 55 pounds.
55, 60, dude,
Yeah.
is perfectly fine, man. You figure you get that late season when it's super cold out. I mean, there's no, there's no mistaking at that point. Like it's just super easy. I don't know. I shot 70, 75 forever, and it's just not worth it. I don't see it. I don't see it with the broadheads nowadays and the arrows.
Right.
It's not worth it.
That's
Yeah, I mean, if it's really comfy
no,
and
Dan.
I just
Dan,
got
you ruined the moment, man.
what were you gonna do?
Everyone, debate corner. He brought broadhead, so I really want to know now.
Oh, the button didn't go off.
The button didn't go off.
No,
No, you can't hear it.
Oh, so it's debate
it's all
corner.
good though.
It's all good.
Debate corner.
Debate corner.
Oh, there you go.
Are you mechanical or a fixed blade?
Ooh,
Now we're gonna get into some shit.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go because you guys are the more experienced. I've only shot one kind, so I'll let you guys go.
So I actually shoot a hybrid. So I shoot a fixed blade mechanical. So what it is I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's called Zeus. Zeus broadheads. So I'm actually wearing the hat. That's kind of funny.
So yes.
So Zeus is actually it's a fixed blade, but when it calls for it to become mechanical, so it's got two blades, and at 45 pounds of pressure, it pushes down to 1/8 of an inch. So when it actually 7/8 of an inch. So when it contacts with bones, it goes down to 7/8 of an inch. It goes through the bone, and then it snaps back to 1.5 inches, and then continues through. So you'll get a lot more penetration. You're not losing that kinetic energy, so it's actually storing it and then building it back up when it actually contacts bone. But if it doesn't contact bone, it just stays 1.5 inches and flies through. I've had phenomenal luck with it. I shoulder shoot everything. Everything I shoot at, I shoulder shoot. I've never not had a pass through, and that's at 60 pounds. It's just I had super good luck with it, and it's
If it
kind of
ain't
what I
broke,
stick
don't
with.
fix it. Yeah.
No, I've shot it for a very long time and absolutely love it.
Have they come out with new models over the years?
Yep. So they had
Okay.
started with Zeus. Zeus is their baby. They've had that for a while, which is a 2-blade with a tube leader. They do have a fixed blade called the Hera. I mean, no, what is?
Yeah.
No,
What?
the
I wasn't
Hera,
paying attention.
the
Then they had
fixed
the
blade.
Aries. The Aries.
Aries, which is the fixed blade, and then they come out with the Hera, which is actually 2-blade, no bleeders.
Shorter ferrule.
Shorter ferrule, fatter. So what it actually does is it's a fatter ferrule than your arrow. So when it hits it, and it's got this like 8-channeled tip on it. When it hits it, it actually like causes concussion like a gun would, because it's more of a blunt tip and it's bigger and it opens the hole up, so it's actually less resistance on the shaft of the arrow. So when it goes through, it blows through bigger,
So the
and then there's
tip,
no resistance.
the tip is almost rifled. Like it's like a turbine that's got these swirled rifles. So
Mhm.
if you saw what it did to like ballistic gel, or like a deer actually looks like it got shot with a rifle when you
It's wild.
see the damage it does.
It's actually out tested pretty much any broadhead on the market as far as the amount of distance that it can go through ballistic gel. It normally top 1, top 2. They've done a ton of tests with it, but it's just a sick broadhead. I swear by it.
How do you
Steve doesn't
feel?
shoot anymore.
How do you feel that they shoot? Like, is there much of a difference from your field tip? Or do you have to practice and make any adjustments with that?
I always check them, but feel the Zeus itself, it's field tip accuracy. I mean, I
Okay.
could pull it right out and shoot it as is. I had a little bit of trouble tuning the Hera. The Hera just didn't fly for me perfect. But the Zeus, I pull it right out of the package. shoot 60 yards with it, no problem, and not have to worry about, don't have to change nothing, tune nothing, change nothing at all.
Okay. How about you, Steve? What do you like?
I don't know.
You
So
change it up?
I shot good old tried and true 100 grain 3-blade Muzzy forever. Forever. They were the best forever. A lot of new shit started to come out, and it took me a while. Like, I'm a big, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And I punched I had just come off like my best season. This was like 2019. I shot 2 really good bucks that year. And then late season, I popped a doe a little far back, and it made that god awful sound of like just not good penetration. I found the doe the next morning, so I did recover. The coyotes had already ate her, but it was just enough where I'm like, I'm going to start, dabbling in the market of broadheads. So this is 2019, 2020. So this is when the whole heavy arrow, big fixed broadhead, rave was coming on. So I fell for it, and I went to like 125 grain 2-blade fixed. I was shooting the day 6, which is very similar to the Iron Will. If you're not familiar with the day 6, they were great. Everything I shot with it died quick. They hammered shit, but I was having problems with accuracy, and they did not fly like my field points. Yeah, just wasn't. I mean, there was times where like I shoot a lot in the summer, and I'm confident with like field points at pretty good distances, and like I just didn't want to shoot at a deer over like 25 yards because I just didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
Yeah, didn't trust it.
Yeah, I just didn't. It's not that I didn't trust it. I just didn't have the confidence. So I guess I didn't trust it. So, this year I actually went with the 1 3/4 severs. I like them a lot, and the thing I liked about them the most is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. They actually have a set screw in them, so you can actually put the screw in, lock the blade shut, and you can shoot them like field points into foam. Because I like being able to shoot my broadheads and make sure they're flying the same as my field points, and they do. But it's nice to be able to run them all through foam a couple times and see that they're flying like field points. Then you can go back to your field points and you trust everything. So I shot them this year. I only shot 1 doe this year, and she went down quick. Like it looked like I put a tomahawk through a rib cage. But with that being said, I have a bear hunt coming up in June. And I was going to shoot the 2-inch sever, but Seth, who's one of the guys on our team, he's a big broadhead tester. I think I'm going to give the 3-blade Mega Meat a try for my bear. And the reason for that is, I don't know if you guys ever bear hunted before. There's a lot of fur and there's a lot of fat. So you want a big hole, because what happens is, even on a good shot, you don't get a lot of blood sometimes, because a lot of that blood gets hung up. The wound can actually like kind of close up from the fat and the fur. So, a lot of the blood's just stuck on the fur, and you don't get the best blood trail. So I think I'm still going to have that 2-inch cutting diameter, but with that 3rd blade, I'll be able to open up that hole a little bit more.
That sounds fun, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my list. Tooth of the arrow, fixed blade.
Yeah.
That's what I got last year when I got my first bow. I hunted. I shot 2 deer last year with it. I really liked them, and then they came out with the XL broadheads, and I bought those this year, and I killed 1 deer with that. And I mean, so far I haven't had any issues with those. I really like them. So I'm at this point, I'm a tooth of the arrow guy. I really like their stuff. It's worked for me, so I'm going to keep it that for now. But I already know what Bovin's going to say.
Fucking Magnus Stinger, man. Those
It's a good broadhead. Those things are nasty.
It is. Been around forever.
Yeah.
Man, they're just so freaking awesome. I mean, everyone's going to have their own, like, oh, this is mine. I'm stick through it like you guys are. And
For sure.
for me, it's just, I first started off with these Crimson Raptor mechanical broadheads. And I was just new into hunting, like just a little baby. And then I didn't like them because I shot 1 deer and the blade came off. I was like, fuck, I don't want to ever have this worried about this again. tried out some different ones, tried some muzzies, and then tried I can't remember the other brand of broadhead, but anyways, then I went back to Magnus. I was like, man, this is just a true broadhead. Shot my big deer with it. It went right through the heart, and basically the heart was just basically destroyed. And then I shot my deer I had last year, and it pierced right through bone. And the thing only went 50 yards. I was like, man, this is just a strong. They're so strong. They punch through anything. They give you a big exit and entrance wound, and they're going to fire true. And I haven't had any complaints about them at all.
What do those run?
Like $30, and then you can easily just get like the replacement blades if you really need to, and just flop them right on there, and it's still a fixed blade broadhead. And I get the Stinger, so they have like 6 different broadheads, but they all run off with the same base
barrel.
And and the one I have, it's just a 2-blade. It's a single bevel type broadhead, and it's got serrated edges at the back, and then 2 little small bleeders on the side. So it's like a 2 to 4, if you want to call the other 4 the bleeders 4. But the guy is very knowledgeable with his broadheads, and if it doesn't, he's attention to detail with him. And if it's not, man, I really need to look this information up but if it's not spinning at like a point whatever, he's not shipping that out on stock. It's going basically retrash and remolding it back again. And yeah, I'm just confident with Magnus. It's going to be hard for me to try out a different one. I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, you're definitely a big fanboy for that, but that's okay.
Yeah, I am a big fanboy.
Yeah.
So since we're already down the rabbit hole, how about arrow weight?
Like, do I choose heavy or weaker?
Yeah.
What am I running at right now? I don't even know. I try to mix it in between the both. I think. I don't know. I can see both ways with it, really.
Yeah. So I found, like I said, I fell for it a couple of years ago, and I went. I didn't go crazy, but I went like, I think I was running at like 505 grain with 100. It was like 125 grain broadhead and like a 50 grain outsert, and I was running right at like 505. And dude, they freaking hammer. Like they go through shit. Like they do pound. They're quieter because you're not losing any efficiency of the with a lighter arrow, your bow creates so much torque that it's not even using it all in the arrow. So you're like wasting efficiency. But I found out recently in the last couple of years that with these new bows, they're so efficient. They're created with those big cams we're talking about. They can put so much power into that arrow that you're basically wasting it. Mm-hmm. And if you crunch some numbers in like a kinetic energy calculator, the difference between like say like a 450 grain arrow and a 500 grain arrow, if you do the kinetic energy calculator, you're like 2 pounds different in kinetic energy. So like it's like not even, it doesn't make a difference, right? So I'm starting to learn now where I think I'm going to go back to like 450, 475 grains because it's going to be that much faster. Now my sight tape and my pin gap's even shorter. My arrow's faster, and my kinetic energy is basically the same when it gets there. You know?
Yeah.
I shot a 709 at one point, which
at
is
a turkey.
At a turkey.
Holy shit.
Which 709 is, so just to give the listeners and everybody kind of a roundabout, to shoot the big 6 in Africa, you have to be over 600 grains. Now think of that. So I was 709. So I was 110 grains bigger than what you're supposed to be to shoot the big 6. So that's elephants, Cape buffaloes, you know what I'm saying? Like lions, like, so I'm shooting
bears.
7.9. And when I shot that animal, it literally left its feet. I have it videoed. I shot a turkey and it literally left its feet. It was one of the craziest things I ever seen in my life. Kinetic energy was huge. It was wild, but one of the problems I had with it was us being mobile public land hunters and saddle hunting and so on and so forth. A deer doesn't always do the picture perfect thing when you're hunting, and that deer can be at 26 yards or 28 yards or whatever the case may be. And if you're sight taped at 20 or 25, say my pin's at 25, a 2 yard difference is you're missing that animal at that point at 2 yards because the distance of, the curvature of the arrow, right? So like I said, no more. I broke it back down, came back into that 450, 475 range. I have no problems.
There's another big point right there that Trev was right at. When you're going to your preset stands, right? You've been in there, you've cut your shooting lanes, everything, you have your shooting lanes all trimmed out or whatever. The deer steps in your shooting lane, you make the shot. When you're mobile hunting on public land, you don't have shooting lanes. Like you might never been in that tree before in your life, and you don't even know what it's going to look like when the sun comes up. So the more flatter your trajectory, your arrow is going to be the difference between maybe hitting a twig or not hitting a twig, or maybe a twig coming into play, or even having a shot. So I didn't realize that until recently, and I forget where I heard that, but that was kind of like a light bulb moment where I was like, oh shit, you know what? A little bit faster and a flatter trajectory is going to help me being a mobile hunter.
Yeah, I'm still new to everything. I'm learning about all the differences, but I went off of the discretion of my bow guy. He asked me what arrows I wanted, and I'm shooting 450 grain.
Perfect.
So
yeah,
he said, I think for what you're doing with it and for what your poundage is and everything, he said, I think this is really good for you. And I don't know enough to make my own decision really yet.
Yeah.
I trust my mentors.
I do have a quick question though. I got what FOC is best?
That's funny because I just got the same DM from Oil Can, one of our followers, and I don't honestly I don't fucking know because I've never paid attention.
No,
I think it's 15 to. I think it's supposed to be 15 to 20% if you follow the FOC crowd. I've never really geeked out on that.
I don't even know what that is.
There's a point there. It's front of center. It's how much weight's in the front of the arrow.
Correct.
And it's like it's where the point in the arrow is like like that. Honestly, I think basically
right.
I think we're at a point now with like we're getting into so much technology part of it. It's like just get a fucking arrow and make sure it shoots straight and you shoot where you need to go and just fucking shoot.
Yeah.
We get so focused on like, and I'm not dissing the question. It's not that at all.
Right.
It's we worry about FOCs, worry about vane weight, worry about arrow weight, worry about spine, worry about all this other bullshit. No, give me my arrow, give me my bow that I want. Now let's figure out the correct bow, arrows that I want, and let's go off of that.
Right.
At that point, it's just, is it going to shoot? What's your limit? So for me, my limit for shooting a deer is 70 yards. I feel comfortable at 70 yards. If I go past it, I'm going to need to work on that. 70 and in, what am I going to need to make sure I get to 70 and in? That's why I go to my bow guys down at the shop, and they know a lot more about that stuff than I do, so I'm constantly learning. But I think we get so wrapped up, and it's like, what's that?
I was going to say the big thing is spine, right? You got to have your arrow spined right. After and then your bow's got to be tuned properly, right? Yeah. And what happens is guys don't realize is they've got these arrows, right? Well, they go to the spine chart and they're supposed to be shooting a 350 spine. Well, now they add a bunch of weight to the front because the branch fairy told them that they need all this FOC and this weight up front. So they throw 150 grain broadhead on, a 75 grain outsert, and all this shit. Well, they don't realize they just weaken the spine of the arrow. So now they're not shooting the properly spined arrow because they added all this weight up front. They started with the right spine, but they changed the spine. So now they can't hit shit, and they don't know why because they're doing exactly what the ranch fairy told them to do. Because there's just too much information out there for people's own good. But like you said, a basic whatever. An
Try
Easton
CS bow hunter.
Easton Axis, properly spined with a tuned bow, you're going to shoot the lights out. You start fucking with shit too much, and you're not even going to know why shit's not working.
Then you start to get into the point of, like these guys will get upset, going back on your question about, broadheads and what broadheads and how is it, out of the package. Well, to be honest with you, and I didn't really want to get this technical with it, but I will. Every broadhead should be or shoot true to your field point when it comes out of the package, and this is the reason why. If you are properly tuning your bow 100% to the way that you're supposed to, when you're knock tuning, paper tuning, and all of your stuff is 100% true, I can literally shoot any single broadhead out of any package, and it should be true to my field point because now I'm starting at 0. And a lot of guys will get their broadheads out of the package, and they're like, "Oh, this broadhead's not flying true, and it's not flying." This isn't 1989 when we're shooting Thunderhead 100s that have not been, mechanically fixed on a CNC. You know what I'm saying? And like this is the new age where if you properly tune your bow, you could virtually shoot any broadhead out of the package, and it should shoot pretty much true. Even fixed blades, and a lot of guys will get all upset and they're like, "Oh, well, this broadhead didn't shoot right, and then this one didn't shoot right." Well, go back to the basics. Paper tune your bone, and then knock tune your bow.
How about I'm gonna hurt some feelings here. Check your fucking form, because you can torque the fuck out of a bow with a field point, and you're still going to shoot X's.
Yeah.
You put a big broadhead on the front and your grip's jacked up, and then all of a sudden you're going to blame the broadhead that it flies like shit. Like maybe you don't know how to shoot a bow. Like maybe you're not even gripping the bow properly.
Well, it's not even that, but bring it back to, what's the axle to axle on your bow? Like if you have a smaller axle to axle, it's a less forgiving bow. When you have a longer bow, it's more forgiving. So your form is more important. Like these guys are all talking mobile hunting and this and that, and I need a shorter bow, this, that, and the other thing. But in all reality, it's less forgiving. So you're going to have more problems with that bow. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things and so many variables and people.
Yeah.
And I try not to go down these rabbit holes, and I try not to get mad.
This is fun. It's fun to cause a train wreck on somebody else's podcast.
Yeah. No, we love it, and that's why. Oh, there we go.
I was about to say, calm the pitch.
But
I'll tell you.
Go ahead, Steve.
One more thing on that point too that I think a lot of people don't think about and talk about. If you go back to like 1980 or 1990, we were shooting giant fletchings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when weight started to become a thing, speed kills and all that shit, we started going to like little blazer vanes and little 2-inch vanes and stuff like that, which was fine. Then all of a sudden started coming these big fixed blades, right? So now somewhere along the line, your broadhead became bigger than your fletching. So now you have these feathers or vanes on the back of your arrow that's supposed to steer your arrow and correct it. Well, when your blades are bigger and wider on the front of your arrow than the vanes on the back that are supposed to steer, like what the fuck is going on here, right? So I don't know. I'm not really an arrow geek, even if it sounds like it, but that's kind of why I started to go towards the mechanical, because now, at least with the mechanical, my vanes are able to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not getting overcompensated by these two giant metal wings on the front of the arrow.
Dan, did you have a question or a statement?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, all of those rabbit holes that Trev was talking about with bow hunting is why I like bow hunting. I like the struggle, and it just knowing all those things that have to come into play and they have to properly align is why I like it. It's fun. If it was really easy, I probably would have been burned out already.
Mm-hmm. No, and it keeps it fun, right? And we try. The thing is, my biggest thing is I just don't like to break people's hearts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you try, and you constantly are just like, oh yeah, try this, try that. But it's you have to go back to the basics. Like I've my entire life have shot a longbow, and a recurve. That's how I learned. So now my form is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like there's steps and variables to it. You can't just go and buy a bow and think you're going to be a professional archer, or you can't get upset. You have to think. There's common sense to go along with a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like we have all this technology, but there's still the basics, and those basics I think were lost somewhere
Yes.
along the line where us as watching the curve of all this technology come alive. I mean, we're 90s babies, so like, or well 80s, and so like we would like watch the curvature of all this stuff occur, and
Mm.
we understand what it is. I mean, like my first bullet was a Martin Warthog. I mean, I probably shot
It's a good
25
bow.
deer with a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Before I had then moved up. So it's
And then what do you shoot now? You never told us what guy you are.
I'm an OB guy, dude. So I shoot Obsession. Um, I'm a
Haven't heard
big
of Obsession in
Obsession
a
guys,
while.
and I'm gonna tell you this, and for you guys, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this.
Say it.
Obsession's about to knock the world off its feet when it comes to the archery world. I saw him in ATA and heard some serious things, and they're going to be the company to watch out for. I can promise you right now.
I never even heard of them, to be honest. But I'm
That-
new too, though.
That's
Yeah,
good.
So.
It's all right. So
I'll have to look into them.
yeah. I mean, it's a super fast bow. I mean, they're very comfortable and very fast. I shot elites forever. I was an elite archery guy forever. I shot elites since 2008. And then I went to Obsession. So now I shoot an Obsession. I shot Matthews a little bit in there. I had a DXT when the DXT Z7 came out. I shot one of those for a couple of years, and then I went back to Elite and then back up to Obsession. But
You
I
said
love
your
my Obsession.
first bow was a Martin what?
Warthog.
Mine was a Martin Jaguar.
Uh,
Yeah.
my
bow.
You want a crazy story? So how I got that bow was there was a drug addict up the road from me.
Hell yes.
He's probably still up the road too.
Well, whatever. So no. All right, I take this all back. I should never said it like that.
We're live, bro. You can't take that shit back.
So there was a kid I grew up with. He had some problems growing up or whatever. He needed money. It was his grandfather's bow. I bought it off him for $50. I bought this bow off him for $50 because he needed some money, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to disrespect him, but so
you're an enabler.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because I'll tell you right now, it probably is. Not too many years ago, he came back to me and asked me if I still had that bow. He got into archery hunting. He ended up shooting 6 more deer with that bow 3 years ago.
Nice.
Oh wow.
So it's pretty cool. It's just cool. It's a cool little story or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. So now he got into
It
archery.
was not going to end like that.
Nope, he straightened out his life, and he's now a full-time archery hunter. Shoots a ton of deer, sends me pictures. He still hunts with that bow to this day.
Nice.
This is his grandfather's bow. But
that's awesome.
It's just cool because the archery world is like that. The hunting world is like that because you can always count on it. Bringing you back to the basics. Just keeping you out of trouble. So
yeah, my first bow was a Martin Jaguar, like I said, and when I was in high school, I was getting ready to sell it. And I was telling my basketball coach at the time that his son wanted to get into archery hunting. So I told him, I was like, hey, I was going to sell it to him. I can't remember how much, but I basically just gave it to him for free. He's like, here, let your kid have fun shooting a bow.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 9 years old, but it was a grow up into type of bow. So I always felt pretty cool about that. Never heard anything about it if he actually really got into it, but yeah, it's cool how bows can kind of bring things back into perspective and shit.
So one of the guys that had asked one of the questions about out of state wanted the out of state from the beginning. He's a good friend of ours, Mike Tyler. We had him on podcast. He's a huge hunter all over the country. He's been listening to it all night, and he says to me, this was my Connecticut buck, 24 inches inside, big bodied, best locally. So this is the deer.
Oh, wow.
So just to give you a point of there is big deer here in Connecticut. He
crazy.
shared it with me, so I figured I'd share it along with
No, that's
everybody else
nice.
because I think it's kind of cool. But
That would definitely have me shitting in my pants for
Yeah.
sure.
There's big deer here.
I would have a
There's-
hard time keeping my composure.
Hope he comes in fast.
Yep.
Dan, I remember at the start of the show you had some questions about them, about their podcast, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, you did kind of answer some of the questions, but I was just curious how long you guys have been doing the podcast together.
So
Together?
Well, I guess overall.
So
I-
I started podcast in 2017. I had a podcast called East Coast Bow Hunting Podcast. Kind of went sour. My business partner is being tried right now on trial for 25 to life. So we stopped doing
non-hunting related charges.
non-hunting related charges.
Okay.
So then we started the outdoor drive, and a little over a year ago, Steven jumped on with us. Steve has always been, my right hand man from the beginning. When East Coast days, was always had my back. Always been, a true friend. Always gave me ideas, helped me out, conversated, and then I asked him if he would want to join me, be my partner. So me and
He's
him
been
are
regretting it ever since.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Steve's one of my favorite hunting partners, man. It's we have a lot of fun together. We definitely have a lot of fun. We kill a lot of shit together.
And you guys do some fishing too?
I don't think we've ever fished together, honestly.
Nah,
Really?
Trev's too good to fish with me.
No, it's
No, Trev's, I'll be honest with you, Trev's very busy during fishing season because he does it for a full-time job. So the
Oh.
last thing he wants to do is get off the boat
Yeah.
after,
Yeah.
guiding Muppets all day and then, go do
Yeah.
it for fun.
That probably makes you appreciate hunting a little bit more.
So it was funny as we were at the last trade show here in Tennessee, and my girlfriend was with me, and she's walking around. She's like, "Why don't you guide hunting trips?" And I was like, "Hun, do you ever see me go fishing?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "Yeah, that's because I go to work to go fishing. I don't go I go hunting because I enjoy it. I'm not bringing people hunting. And then with the day that I do, I'll never do it again." It's just a lot. It takes a lot out of you, and I always thought, I've been doing this, I guess, quote unquote, professionally for close to 15 years now, working on the back of boats, commercial fishing, so on and so forth, and it just takes a lot out of you. And I wouldn't want to do that for hunting. I've been asked to guide turkey hunts in Florida, Maryland, New York, pretty much all over, and I won't do it. I really won't do it. I just love it too much. And it kills it. It really kills it. Because I used to fish every day, my whole entire life growing up, and now I don't fish at all. I just go to work.
Yeah. That would suck. But also, I mean, as long as you can still hunt and you can find a balance, I feel like that's what it's all about. Because I mean, I could think of worse jobs. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love my job. I love
Yeah.
going to work every day. I enjoy it. It's the best of both worlds because you get to bring new fishermen out and put them on big fish. So I do light tackle striped bass fishing. So we do trophy striped bass fishing. We bring a ton of little kids out. We put 40-pound fish, 50-pound fish at the side of the boat, and these guys lose their mind. I mean, it's incredible to see it and do it. It's a blast to have these kids out there or full-grown men that never seen a fish of that size. Like, it's amazing. It's like, it's like doing youth turkey hunts, and that bird comes in and he's gobbling from 100 yards away, and the kid's over there shaking like a leaf on a tree, and you're like, dude, you gotta settle down, you gotta stop moving, and it's incredible. It's incredible to see it. It's incredible to be part of it. I mean, even Steve gets like that. He shakes all up and gets all crazy and this, right?
Fuck
Steve?
you, bro.
Oh, I do.
I'm a fucking stone cold killer when it comes to turkey. You guys turkey hunt or what?
Never have, man. But
Oh,
but all of our
Highly-
guests that we've been having, they're all about it, man, and it's starting to rub off on me.
I will
And
tell
that-
you, I did not start turkey hunting until I was 30 years old. Similar to like how some guys get into deer hunting, right? Like my dad wasn't a turkey hunter. I didn't know any turkey hunters. Like, how do you get into it? and just decided, 8 years ago I was going to dabble in it, and it took a couple years, and then I just got smacked in the face, man. And I'm like, I'm talking about jumping states to kill more birds, and like I told you before, like we can't turkey hunt Sundays in Connecticut. Last year, I'm like full out junkie, man. I had to buy a Rhode Island tag just so I could hunt Sunday to go kill a bird on my day off. Like,
Oh man,
it'll grab a hold of you real quick.
yeah. We have a guy. He's actually scheduled for tomorrow. And he's
yeah.
huge in the turkey hunt. That's all he does is turkey hunt. And I've been trying to sell this prime bow that I bought from my dad, but it's the same time that his shoulder got hurt. Anyways, long story short, I'm basically probably going to be using that bow now as my turkey bow and just going out there because I only want to shoot with a bow. That's just how I am. And yeah, I don't. My dad hasn't turkey hunted, so I don't really know a lot of people that have turkey hunted that have been around me in my personal life. But I think it's at a point where it's like, fuck it, let's go try it and see what happens and see how it goes.
Trial by fire.
Yeah.
So,
I can remember the first, like I said, I had no mentor. I just mouth call, shotgun, and fuck it, let's go turkey hunting. And I called the first bird I called in, I freaking missed it 20 yards, and I was running a GoPro on my head. And I still have the footage to this day. I called that bird in, gobbling the whole way. He came in, gave me this little window. I pulled the trigger, whiffed. He flew off, and I looked at the camera, and I was like, "I'm hooked." Like that was awesome. But you don't need much, man. If you got a shotgun and a choke and a mouth call, just go have fun, man.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing like it. So, Brett, are you going to do it with a blind, or are you going to do it just free going, or how are you going to roll?
Man, I've thought about that. I really have, and I think I like putting myself in the most challenging position. So I think what I'm just going to do is basically free ball it and just go out there and sit in front of a tree and let's do it, man.
You're going to get humbled very quickly.
Yeah, but so I just like that challenge. I don't want to put myself into a situation where it's like, all right, I can kind of make it easy for me to put myself in a blind. I want to feel like, you know what, let's go for it. And
so I'm going to give you a word of advice real quick.
Yeah.
just so you don't get your dick in the dirt. The best thing to do, honestly, is use the tree as your blind. Okay? If you're in front of the tree, you're never going to kill a turkey. I promise you, hands down. I can almost guarantee you will never. There's only a couple of tricks that you can do it from in front of the tree. The best thing to do is find a big oak or a big hickory, whatever you got. Get in behind it, stand behind it, call that bird to you. Right. So turkeys are very smart, where they know exactly what tree you're at. They know exactly where you are, what you're doing, how far away. So if you're sitting behind the tree, now you have that tree as the barrier, and he comes into the woods and he's looking at for you if you're going to run a decoy or not. He's looking for you, so he's hunting you. So now you're hiding behind the tree. Then you can come at full draw, come out from behind the tree and shoot him. One of the other ways, and one of the techniques that a lot of guys use, is they'll sit there and they'll have a medium sized tree in front of them, but there'll be a bigger tree out front of them, maybe 15 yards. And what they'll do is they'll take a hen decoy and they'll put it laying on the ground like a bedded hen, like an egg, like she's on a nest laying down. And what will happen is when you call at that Tom's going to come around. He's going to see that hen sitting there. He's going to get in front of him. Now that Tom is looking directly away from you, and he's going to be fanned out trying to get her to stand up. Now you can do the cha-cha behind the tree. He's never going to see you. You're not going to be, you can do pretty much anything you want. And then you can Texas heart shoot him that way. If you're not going to run a blind, those are two ways to do it, because I promise you, even if you're getting a blowdown or something like that as a blind, that would be a very good idea too. But their eyesight, dude, is so good, man. Forget it. Like,
I heard
you move your toes and they know where you're at. I've shot a ton of birds with the bow, and it's a challenging thing. And one of the things with them is having such small vitals. I shot one with a crossbow last year, and the thing ran off into a swamp, and I chased it through the swamp. I never ended up finding it, but it happens. That's part of it. But the archery turkey hunting is not an easy task. There's a video actually on our YouTube. I put a fan on my stabilizer and called them into about 10 yards and ended up shooting one, which was pretty cool too.
Badass.
Yeah.
I pat on the back for being such a hardcore archery hunter to want to kill a turkey with your bow, but they were born to get shot in the face with a shotgun, man.
Like, yeah, and that's what I've said. I've said that what Kip Campbell said. He's like, turkey hunting is with a bow is basically playing football with a baseball. It's just not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
you're supposed to shoot their heads off with a shotgun.
And all kidding aside, what I use turkey hunting for is I embrace the suck and grind out archery hunting mature deer all fall, pass a ton of deer, basically hunting one buck, and it sucks. Like it's a grind. Like it'll beat the shit out of you. So I just release all my frustration on turkeys in the spring, and if it's got a full fan, it's getting shot in the face, and I'm putting it in the truck, and I'm gonna go find another one to shoot again because it's just the way I let off some steam from from getting my ass kicked all fall.
Yep.
Well, we are getting kind of a little late for us, and but I do want to ask though, is there anything that we didn't cover that you guys want to bring up, a story that you want to share? And this is your limelight on our show, so you can go ahead and fuck it all up if you want.
I had fun.
No, I had an absolute blast. We appreciate you guys having us on, man. It was super cool.
Yeah,
super
Connecticut's not so bad after all, right, Brett?
Did you guys figure out what the capital is yet?
I knew what it was. But Brett's dumbass over there. I'm just kidding. No, we both had a mental fart, and we're like, dude, what is even the capital of Connecticut? So I figured I would quiz him, not knowing if he knew it or not. Luckily, he made himself look dumb before I exposed myself. But yeah,
that's my friend right there. Just call me an idiot. So yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
But yeah, man, we had a blast. Yeah, we'll have to link up again. And yeah, I felt like we learned quite a bit, man, and we really appreciate it.
Cool. We made up half the shit we said, but
yeah, so
no, that's cool. Hey, I'm gonna regurgitate it all, so it's all good.
Yeah,
that's what everybody else does on podcasts. So go at it.
Just say it with confidence, and no one will question you.
That's right.
Exactly.
For sure. Well, best of luck to you guys this year hunting, and best of luck with your podcast and everything. And look forward to seeing you guys again.
All right.
Real quick, how can people find you guys? What's the best platforms?
Instagram is probably the best, honestly. Instagram, Facebook. You can go right to our website, theoutdoordrive.com.
Podcast is on all major podcast platforms. Yeah. New episode. Now we're dropping them every Friday. Usually Thursday night at midnight. There's 230 episodes up there. So if you're new to listening, there's plenty of catching up to do. Some really good content in the deer hunting wise. The last couple of weeks, we just had Troy Pottinger on last week. Ryan Glitzky. We did a good one on e-scouting with Whitetail Partners. Yeah, there's a bunch of good info out there.
I got Matt Light coming on here on Friday, so we got a couple of really good ones. So,
well, heck yeah, man, we appreciate it. Always nice rubbing shoulders with other people.
Thanks for taking the time on your guys' day to come on chat with us about Connecticut.
Hey, thanks for thinking of us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good night, guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Oh man, that was a fun show. That went a lot later than I thought it would.
Well, I mean, we had good guests, and that
was a fun show, man.
Yeah, had a good time.
I did put I did throw up their stuff at the beginning of the show for their Facebook page, their YouTube, their Instagram, and their personal Instagram pages as well. I threw that up all at the beginning, so if you want to find them, go ahead and check out the front page. Beginning of the show, but man, that was a good segue into tomorrow's show. We're bringing back Paul.
Yeah, and Paul's a legend. So
heck yeah, man, he's a legend, turkey legend.
You need to be taking notes because they gave us some pretty good insight tonight on the do's and don'ts of turkey hunting.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we can just talk a lot about turkey, I'm sure you can have a pretty good plan of attack in place after tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's turkey hunting is kind of something I've been wanting to do the last like 2-3 years, roughly. Only because I've been seeing a lot more going on. It's like, you know what, that's something that would be cool to do. But then next thing I know, golf season starts at like the exact same time.
You
And
gotta
it's
give
like,
that shit up.
well, golfing is like my own personal, like, how can I do better? I want to get the best score and stuff like that. Hunting is basically just a, like, I don't know how to describe it. Hunting
Yeah,
is just its
because
own
it's way
world.
better.
It is 10 times better, but I guess it's golf is like that competitiveness in me where it's like, I want to do the best. How can I? There's a score to be made, and I want to get the lowest one possible. That's just personal.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, that was just a fun show, man. You ready to end the show and bring it up back to tomorrow?
Hell yeah, man. Ready to get some shut eye and brainstorm about how we can make tomorrow's episode just as good,
Heck yeah, man.
if not better.
Well, hopefully you hear this outro because now I feel like I don't know what the fuck's going on with technology.
Oh,
Man,
well, the intro was there, so go ahead and hit it, bud.
there. Can you hear now? No, man. Whatever. Thank you for tuning in the show, and we'll cut it out there.
Yep.